Alright fellas, now what a surprise. Tyson Fury has come out in a short video and once again he's said he's retired. Although this is a pretty typical Fury performance at this point, it does open Pandora's box to talk about a lot of different things, and probably quite a bit you haven't even thought of or heard others talk about. I reckon there's a bit more to this story than Tyson Fury just trying to inflate his own value. But just before we unpack all of it, if you love boxing, you've found yourself in the right place. My name's Cloister and I make videos on everything boxing, so to stay informed on the latest, make sure to subscribe. Now, what was next for Tyson Fury after that last loss has simply been one of the biggest questions in boxing over the last month. This heavyweight era is looking like it's coming to its end, yet the hype and enthusiasm is as healthy as it's ever been. And with the Saudis now in the game, all the fights that you thought weren't possible all have the possibility of happening. And of course, where most of us thought we would eventually end up is Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury, which at this point is a borderline third place World Cup finish fight, yet it's still incredibly hype. Both fighters have Saudi relations, and Hearn and Warren seem to be getting along at the moment, so surely we finally see this happen. It seems more likely than it's ever been. And to add more fuel to the fire, before the last Usyk bout, Fury was talking about how he wants to take on everyone and how there's no chance of retirement. It was some of the most hopeful talk we've heard from Fury in a long while, yet obviously the loss made him change his tune. The most obvious reason for this retirement call is to give him more leverage in negotiations. This isn't the first time he's done it either. He threatened it after the cancellation of the Klitschko rematch, after he beat Wilder, after Dillian Whyte, and even when he was in the Usyk negotiations. This simply is just not a new tactic. Leading into negotiations, it did for a moment seem like it would be smooth sailing. Both were coming off losses and no world titles were at play. Surely it would be an easy 50-50 split. But even a day ago, you had Eddie Hearn coming out and saying they've already reserved Wembley for the fight. Yet obviously something has gone really wrong. That could be down to a few different things, but the most simple direction you could point to is Fury just wants more money. Like he always does. Coming off a Saudi card in Saudi, which had a huge rumoured purse, he would want to be getting at least similar money. Now with that you would assume, well, Riyadh season would be involved in this fight, yeah? There's the money. Well, after some of the events of the previous years, especially events like Madrimov Crawford, the Saudis were rumoured to be pulling back from hosting big shows overseas. And the main reason for that being they simply aren't getting their money's worth on these big overseas shows. They wanted to rather focus on bringing big events to Saudi Arabia, instead of just sponsoring them in another country. Although because of this, you've seen His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh move into acquiring the Ring magazine, and announce he'll be holding his own self-sponsored cards to fill that void under the Ring name. Yet is he putting up the money that Tyson Fury is demanding? That could be a real factor. Another factor is, do they value Anthony Joshua more so the A side? Do they put his value higher than Tyson Fury's? Although in reality, I think it's pretty even. But does Eddie Hearn see Joshua as the bigger ticket seller, and is asking for more money as a result? It's said that Hearn's original offer towards Fury wasn't great, so it could be slanted towards Joshua. That could be a real problem. I think quite clearly also this retirement announcement wasn't really planned. For a man who loves the spotlight as much as Tyson Fury, no way a true retirement announcement is done over a 30-second video on Twitter. This just can't be the end. I think it was in direct response to something which was happening in some sort of negotiations. Yet the timing of this announcement could have been slightly planned. Boxing is usually pretty dead throughout the month of January, although there has been some huge press events over the last week. Of course, a couple of days ago you had the Ring Magazine Awards, which almost every prominent boxer was at except Tyson Fury. And that was just a bit odd. Then today there was the first press conference for Bivol vs Beterbiev 2, which is one of the most loaded cards that we've seen in recent years. Truly, that's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about how great of a card that actually is, and the dynamics we saw at play at the presser. Yet instead, Fury has stolen the limelight of the press conference by announcing his apparent retirement. It's basically a big look at me, I'm still a huge name, and he's just trying to push around his weight. I would be heavily surprised though if this video is genuine at all. I don't think he's going to retire. It's a story as old as time, and this one seems even less serious compared to some of the others. But what if it is actually true? What happens if he does retire? Although I highly doubt it, he might be too scared to face Joshua from a legacy perspective. If Fury loses the Joshua fight, it really doesn't do wonders to his legacy. To solidify his legacy, he needs that Joshua fight. He wants to prove he's at least the best from Britain in this generation. You look at Fury's resume currently and it's kind of aged like milk. When Dillian Whyte is in your top 3 opponents you've won against, it's not a great look if you're claiming to be an all-time great. Of course, Klitschko, that was a great win, and the Wilder wins were impressive, but still compared to an Usyk, he doesn't have the wins to be called an all-time great. Probably more so because of a recency bias. I've seen a ton of people talking about this retirement going, well, if he does retire, he's in the top 10 heavyweights of all time. And I like Fury. He's just not top 10 of all time. At all. Would he be top 10 boxing personalities of all time? Well, he could absolutely get that call up. But he's just not in a top 10 heavyweights of all time. He's not even the best of this generation. And I think that's a bit of a sad thing about this era. Fury absolutely had the potential to be an all-time great, but simply didn't act on opportunities. Fighters such as Usyk, who had the guts to face everyone and take the risks, got the rewards, and his legacy speaks for itself. Whilst the others who cherry-picked and wasted time lessened their legacy by waiting too long for bouts. But let's be honest, not many are in it for the legacy. The money is what makes everything happen in boxing, and you can't really judge that. Making generational wealth for your family is really a priority for anyone. But it'd be a pretty sad ending if a 30-second Twitter video is truly the end of Tyson Fury's career. But once again, I highly doubt it. The Joshua fight is just too big of a payday, and I think Fury is trying to get every little last drop as he knows it's probably his last hurrah. And I think I can speak on behalf of all of us, me and all of you watching. We just all want Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua to happen, and the less stalling which happens, the better. We've only been waiting for the good part of a decade now. We've all been waiting too long, and surely it's finally time they make it happen. But now let me know what you think. Do you reckon Tyson Fury's going to retire, or do you see Joshua versus Fury happening next? Let me know all your thoughts down below. If you did enjoy, please consider liking and subscribing. It really does a ton to help the channel. Yeah, thanks for watching fellas, and I'll catch you in the next one.